Hold up.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is FoxyDude98 here. Welcome back to a brand new F1 2015 career mode video for you guys today here on my channel. Today we are back with round number 15 of this season. We are in Russia at the Sochi International Raceway Circuit. This is going to be an interesting one, and we're going to start off qualifying, as you can see right here. But first of all, I want to start off with an apology for yesterday's video of the Japanese Grand Prix, as you kind of didn't like it that I did cut quite a few of the corners, which I did explain in the video, so I don't know why I still get asked why did you cut the corners, because it was kind of obvious. I said it in the video. I don't know about it. Basically, I had understeer in the car, so I tried to compromise that with the high-speed corners. Just didn't get the cornering right. However, I was never warned in the entire game for cutting corners, so whilst I was in the heat of the moment and I was racing, I just carried on through taking those lines. So I'm sorry about that. I did have a comment saying you cut it every corner of the track. Yes, I cut it every corner of the track. So unfortunately, well, not every single corner of the track, that's a bit over-exaggeration. But anyway, I am going to watch my track limits here in Russia, so I do apologise for the Japanese Grand Prix as of yesterday. But we are currently doing well at the moment. You can see we are currently in P1, coming up to the second sector of this Grand Prix circuit. I set the car so it's very, very powerful, so I've got 3 to 1 wings. So very, very big. We run really deep here going into this corner. However, it doesn't really affect us. We were already quite far ahead from the ghost of Lewis Hamilton. So we can continue pressing onwards, trying to pick up pole position. If we can get pole position, which it looks like we're going to be getting, this is going to be the first time since the Italian Grand Prix that we have gone on pole position, which is going to be absolutely awesome, and I can't wait for it to happen. We come around the final corner here. It is now certain we have taken pole position for the Russian Grand Prix. A fantastic job by myself there to get the pole position. We have clearly got some speed around Russia, and hopefully we can try and convert this pole position into a race victory. We're going to go and skip now towards the Grand Prix, and let's see what happens.
What a great qualifying performance there by Sebastian Vettel. It's going to put him in a really strong position for the...
Alright then, guys, so as you can see, we are on the grid here, and we have got the 5 lights going, and they are out and lights out, and away we go for the Russian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton gets a very good start. I push over to the left-hand side to give him the room, but Hamilton has already beaten us going into turn 1. We then flick over to the right-hand side here to try and get the drag down with Hamilton. It is a 3-way drag down to turn 2. I brake a little early, Hamilton brakes a little later, but going into turn 2, now coming down towards turn 3, we have managed to maintain the lead after a very difficult start there. Lewis Hamilton getting the jump on us, and eventually we managed to maintain the advantage, and we managed to basically get into first position, and we've maintained P1. So that's a beautiful start from us. We nearly did lose the position, but luckily we managed to gain it back. But you can see Hamilton still right on our tail now as we come through this difficult, slightly slower middle sector, which was one of my weakest points on the track. I think the final sector is probably the weakest, but Sector 1 is pretty much high speed. Sector 2 is sort of in the middle, a bit of a low speed, high speed mixture. And then Sector 3 is just all very, very low speed corners. So as we come now down towards this first DRS zone here, you can see Hamilton very, very close behind. You can see the arrow there. In fact, you can see him there because I just, luckily I flicked to the rearview mirror. I was watching Hamilton closely here. But going into this little hairpin corner here, Hamilton decides not to make a move on us, which is good for us. And we maintain position in P1 in front of Hamilton. Rosberg is in 3rd. I believe Raikkonen's 4th, and then probably the Williams is a 5th and 6th. That's how it tends to go in this season. And that's kind of how it maintained throughout for these first couple of sectors. But we've managed to keep everything nice and clean and tidy. We had a bit of a bad start. Lewis Hamilton did unfortunately get in front of us. However, we did manage to get that back and maintain the lead. Going into lap 2 of the Grand Prix, we are in front of Hamilton only by 0.3 of a second, so we're going to need to watch out for Lewis Hamilton. In fact, as we come down towards turn 1, you can see Hamilton there trying to make a move to the left-hand side on the track. Unfortunately, the straight line speed that I put on this car means that Lewis Hamilton has no match for us and is going to make sure that we go out on top. But let's have a look at the replay of the start then, because I'm sure that's what everyone wants to see. So you can see I was a little bit aggressive on Lewis Hamilton because he has the inside line into this first run-down area. Then eventually I move back over to the right-hand side here, and I then eventually pull out a move. Hamilton brakes a little later than I do, but I grab the inside line, and going into this long, swooping turn 3, which you're going to see now. There they go. I love that camera angle so much. You can see we built ourselves a small advantage to Lewis Hamilton already. Rosberg there in 3rd. It's actually the Williams that's in 4th. I do apologise. I thought it was Raikkonen, but Clearly, Raikkonen doesn't want to help in the Constructors' standings, which I believe at the moment is led by Mercedes. I have not checked the Constructors' Championship, and I didn't check the Constructors' Championship at the end of this race, so I generally have no idea how we're doing. I think Mercedes are probably in front of us in the Constructors, but at the moment, we are ahead in the Drivers' Championship, but that can all change by the end of this Grand Prix. You never know. We got to find out, see how we get along, and see if we can win this race, because remember, it's not over. You remember Hamilton was close to us, but as we come now down towards this little hairpin corner, you can see Hamilton closed up quite a lot on us. However, he never really went for the maneuver. He sort of stuck behind me and tried to get as close as possible for a nice little run going down the pit straight, but we managed to maintain position going through this little tight and twisty little complex here. This is the final sector, probably the weakest sector on the track, just because I thought that Russia would be a good track to put some very low wing on. Basically, if you don't know what low wing is, it's basically where I put a little less. It says on the tin, it's a less wing on the car, which means I'm going to struggle a bit more in the corners, but I am going to be much faster in the straights. So we skip ahead now to lap 3 of the Grand Prix. You can see that Lewis Hamilton now really close behind us. In fact, he is actually going to get in the DRS range. I just remember because it's the 3rd lap. Hamilton switches over to the right-hand side. You can see he is there. He has made the overtake. We brake late going into turn 1, and we nearly outbraked ourselves. We didn't quite manage to keep just about all 4 wheels on the circuit, or some of the 4 wheels on the circuit. And we have maintained position against Lewis Hamilton, but the battle's not over yet. We skip to the end of that lap. You can see Hamilton and Rosberg go right up my bumhole here. They are not going to give me any inches of room, and as we come around the final corner here, I thought I'd change it to a different angle. We can see we come down the pit straight. I move over to get out of the slipstream of Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Coming now down to, this is actually turn 1, that little sweeping corner there. Don't know why, but it just is. Rosberg and Hamilton both have DRS. You can see a stupid camera angle. I change it over to Hamilton's third person so you can see it. Rosberg gets around the inside of Lewis Hamilton, but Hamilton manages to fend him back off again. We skip ahead to lap 5 and the battle's not over. Rosberg did get a move on Hamilton. Rosberg switches over to the left-hand side of the track. He has DRS on us. We need to defend as hard as we can. We outbrake ourselves going into the corner, maintaining the position against Rosberg, but Rosberg isn't going to give it up. He takes the inside line, but for some reason he sort of backs out of it, and I think my left rear and his front right tyre collided, causing a little bit of a small contact position there, but the battle is really on with the Mercedes cars. They're not going to give me an inch of room. And we skip ahead now to lap 6 of the Grand Prix, and it's pit window time. It's time for us to make our pit stops. Coming in, you can see we've got me, Rosberg, and Lewis Hamilton. So Hamilton's going to have to stack up behind Rosberg, and you can see the Williamses are both there, and the Ferrari. So Lewis Hamilton, which is our title rival, is going to get held up at this pit stop, and I know that. You can see it there, look. He's held up at the pits, which is kind of exactly what I needed, but unfortunately, it's enough for me. There goes Rosberg, there goes Massa, and then I go. My Ferrari pit mechanics, you let me down, boys. You let me down. Unfortunately, we couldn't manage to get out in front of them, and now we've got to try and recatch Bottas, sorry, it's not Massa, catch and pass Bottas, and now catch and pass Rosberg. So our difficult task of trying to keep those two Mercedes behind, which you saw, has now just got a hell of a lot harder, because we need to get past Bottas, and we need to get past Nico Rosberg as soon as we possibly can. But we're now on to lap 7. You can see I put the car into rich fuel mixture because I don't want to get stuck behind Bottas for any longer. Unfortunately, going into turn 3, I had to downshift 2 gears because I went really wide and I needed to get back onto the course with the track. And I knew that at some point I needed to make a do or die move on Valtteri Bottas, so I needed to make sure that Rosberg was my prime target. And guess what? Do or die. And we just get past Valtteri Bottas on the inside there. Beautiful late braking maneuver. 0 contact made. All 4 wheels on the circuit. I didn't cut that corner to make that move, and that is brilliant. And now the chase is on. Can we catch Nico Rosberg by the end of this race, or is he going to stay in front of us? But as you can see in lap 10 of the Grand Prix, we've closed up on him. I knew I had the pace around Russia. I had a good car around Russia, and this time Nico Rosberg was not going to get away this time. So we exit the final corner here. Coming down the main start and finish straight, Rosberg just in my sight, about half a second behind me. We set purple. We go down towards turn 1 now. We are in the slipstream of Nico Rosberg. DRS has been activated. We go around, flick ourselves to the inside of turn 2. A beautiful move by us, but we've outbraked ourselves going into turn 2. Nico Rosberg now right around the outside of us going into turn 3. I lifted off a bit to give him a bit more. Unfortunately, I go a little bit wide going into turn 3. We are side by side in turn 3 out of all the corners. Rosberg then has has the inside into turn 4, but for some reason he does the same thing happens again. A bit of contact is made, and this time I have got the straight line speed, and then this time I'm clear of Nico Rosberg up into P1, and that's going to increase my championship title aspirations a hell of a lot more than it was down in P2. That's 7 extra points that could possibly be going my way, and I do say possibly, because as you saw from this Grand Prix so far, there's a lot that can happen. But we run a little bit wide going into this corner here. We're going to speed on things up here, because I like to speed things up. And now we're going to go back on board with ourselves here. Nico Rosberg, he has the DRS. He's going to be making sure that he wants to try and make a move round the inside. Rosberg now, can he retake the lead of the race? No, he cannot, because I've managed to make sure that I've maintained it. I then defended going into this tight and twisty section. And we are still back in front as we are casually done as well. We skip a little bit forward. We're on to lap 11 now of the Grand Prix here, and we brake heavily going down into the final corner. We now come back across here to lap 12 of the Grand Prix. Nico Rosberg there, just a little bit behind me, and we can see we are now we are down towards turn 1 now here on lap 12. I've just got to make sure that Rosberg stays behind me, and as you can see, Rosberg is nowhere near me to be seen. He has not managed to close up on us, which is absolutely awesome. I did not want Rosberg closing in on me, because as you guys know, Rosberg is still a strong threat for us coming into this Grand Prix. But luckily, we have managed to maintain position. Hamilton is not even in the top 3 at the moment, so I don't know where Lewis Hamilton is, which is an absolute miracle, kind of. But we skip ahead now to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Nothing else really happened. I defended hard from Nico Rosberg. It was a great battle between me and the Mercedes cars. We had a really big scrap here in Russia, but the car felt much, much better than it did in Japan, and I was able to capitalize, close up on the Mercedes, which I wasn't able to do last time in Japan. And that's going to end it then for the Grand Prix. Rosberg is not going to catch us this time, and it means that Rosberg has been beaten in this Grand Prix. Hamilton not even in the top 3, so a beautiful result from us. That is going to be victory for the Russian Grand Prix. A fantastic result from us. Rosberg only about 0.3 of a second behind in the end. I found out later on that Lewis Hamilton did finish in 4th place, so we've now got a 25-point lead in the top of the table. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like rating. That'd be absolutely awesome. Subscribe if you are new around here, and the next round I believe is going to be the US Grand Prix. Stay tuned for that one. Take care. Goodbye.